People don't say they live in Long Island, they say they live on Long Island. I've lived on Long Island my whole life, and I don't think I could see myself living anywhere else. When Long Island is basically all suburban towns, fast-paced, unlike any other towns in New York. You ask the person where they're from Long Island, they'll say Long Island, automatically assume that you know New York. We like to say all with our words, but it's not all about going to the shore with our sisters to talk and drink coffee while we walk our dogs. We know the island like our back of our hand and the towns in it. Screw the SAT, we know the exact pronunciation of Lontauk, Manitouk, Shinnecock, Ronkonkoma, Hopog, Massapequa, Quogue, and Comac. Long Islanders live in the shadow of one of the greatest cities in the world, but we almost never go there. And when we do go there, we don't call Manhattan or NYC, it's just the city. It's very common for either your grandparents or your parents to be from the city. My mother was from the Bronx, and my father from Queens. Anything north of the Bronx is considered upstate to us. Long Island is full of many things to see. Bald Hill is the highest point on Long Island. The Big Duck is found out east of the Long Island Duck Farm. Robin Rose's Bridge, people fly over that, 90 miles per hour, just fly over. And also the Smithtown Bowl brings back a lot of memories of my grandfather giving directions. He'd say, you know what the Smithtown Bowl is? Yeah, well, it's nowhere near it. When you hear Interstate 495, it's the Long Island Expressway. You never fully understand why it's considered an interstate because it doesn't connect to any other states. The LA isn't bad as everyone thinks. It has 73 exits. You can find Jessica at exit 53 or myself at 61. If you're not from Long Island, you probably have no idea what the HOV lane is. But as a Long Islander, you know that it is the high occupancy vehicle lane, and you know the requirements to drive in it. Learning how to parallel park was pointless in driver's ed class because the only time you had to do it was on your road test. And now only other places are the villages, but even they have parking lots for you to park in, so it's basically pointless. The LIR stands for the Long Island Railroad. Long Islanders have taken it multiple times in their lives, and they know exactly when someone says, don't transfer at Jamaica, they know exactly what that means. You probably know all the stops from Penn into your stop, and by the end of your train ride, you have the pre-recording that says, this is the train to blank. The next stop is blank, stuck in your head. Fire Island is a barrier island right next to Long Island. I actually took this picture for one of the multiple times I walked over there. It's basically like my second home because the Fire Island is like so much fun. But no matter what place on Fire Island you go to, acceptable night is basically walking around drunk. Long Island might not have tropical weather, but it doesn't stop us. Wearing flip-flops is totally acceptable even when it's freezing cold. Any January day, you can spot girls wearing flip-flops, and they will not complain that their feet are cold. Long Island flip-flop season is definitely between the months of April to January. You never are more than 20 minutes away from the water, and when you go to the beach with friends, you never bring up the word beach. It's normally, you'll probably hear them say, well, we can go to Jones, but Robert Moses is closer. The North Shore is too rocky, but we'll go to the Hamptons. Instead, but since we're surrounded by water, you think we go there all the time, but we don't. When you go to Jones Beach, you know the water is not blue. As a Long Islander, you've probably gone to Jones Beach to see multiple concerts. I went there when I was younger with my sister, and I never understood why my parents let me go because my sister was 15 and I was only 8, and my other sister was 12. I guess it's a Long Island thing. I guess our parents are different. I don't know. Your childhood consisted of All-American Burger or Carvel, or maybe even both. The line at All-American Burger is out the door, but lucky me, my uncle's their accountant, so just a swift knock on the back door, and I got to get my order taken. And Carvel, you know it's the best ice cream ever. It's just, you love Carvel, and Wednesdays, buy one, get one free Sunday. Every place other than New York, and even some places upstate, you have to say, I don't want mustard on my burger. You will not find a place in Long Island. Like McDonald's, it's so funny. You have to ask other places about no mustard. But White Castle, you get sick from it, but you always get the crave. And Sonic's, you get the commercials, but you never see them. They're not around. When you think of summer attractions on Long Island, Splish Splash is the main thing. Tourists from all over come around. The water park is like a daycation, it's called. It's always packed, even when it's ugly out. And I started going there with my family, but over the years it's transitioned into me going with my family. I mean with my friends now. It used to be my family. You've watched game shows and you never understood why people were so excited to come to New York when they won a trip. Didn't make sense. You didn't realize you had an accent until you left, because you think that people from the Bronx and Brooklyn are the ones that talk with an accent. Your distant future is probably the state of Florida, because for some reason people in Long Island like to retire there. But you understand that Long Island is expensive, but you never understand why they go to a place 10 times slower. You know that Long Island makes the best pizza and bagels, and you cannot find any other place that makes pizza and bagels like Long Island. You just make the best food. That's it. Nothing beats shopping on Long Island. There's so many malls, and you've either heard of them or you've been to all of them. I live 2 minutes from one mall and 15 minutes from another, and then right between the two Tanger outlets, which are huge shopping centers. When you hear the outlets, when someone's saying they're going to outlets, it basically means Tanger. There's a lot of villages with shops, but it's mainly the malls. Long Island, the home of the Long Island iced tea. When you first heard it, you probably were outside in New York State and you thought it was funny because when you hear Long Island, you think of home. As a teen, you probably had partied in the woods. Your nights basically consist of driving around with your friends in the car and blasting music, because there's really nothing to do. We are known for being the home of many famous stars. Of course, children here are born and they're raised right on Long Island, of course. We have many famous actresses, musicians, Olympic medalists, some people like the Baldwin brothers, Mariah Carey, LL Cool J, all those people. Like I said earlier, that I couldn't see myself living anywhere else. Moving here to Albany was a big step for me, and it was hard. It shows how much I miss and appreciate where I'm from. I love being from the state of New York, but I'm proud to say that I was born and raised on Long Island.